My children are waiting for my money. They'll get nothing. I am 81 years old, and I have developed a very sharp ear for the sound of greed. It's a specific frequency. I hear it in my children's voices every time they call. It's that forced, artificial warmth, a kindness that always seems to precede a casual question about my estate, my property taxes, or my health. They think they are being subtle, but I see everything. And today I've decided to make it official. My children are waiting for my money, and they are going to get absolutely nothing, not a single cent. But wait. Before you judge me, you need to know that I love my children. In fact, it is exactly because I love them that I am doing this. And last month, something happened in my lawyer's office that changed everything. I spent 45 years building a life from zero. I remember the winter of 1974, working 2 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a night, and wearing the same pair of boots until the soles were paper thin. That struggle made me. It gave me a spine of steel. But in my attempt to protect my children from that same struggle, I accidentally crippled them. I gave them everything, and in doing so, I took away their hunger. Now, at 81, I realize that leaving them a pile of money is just the final blow. It wouldn't help them. It would finish the job of making them useless. But here is the part that shocked even my lawyer when I sat down to redraft my will. He looked at the numbers. Then he looked at me, and he asked, "Are you sure you want to go this far?" I told him that a legacy isn't a bank balance. It's a lesson. And some lessons need to be taught with fire. Let's talk about my oldest son. He's 50 years old, and he's still waiting for his big break. He calls me twice a week now. He talks about his cash flow issues and then casually mentions how much property values in this neighborhood have skyrocketed. He isn't worried about my pulse, he's worried about his future equity. He's waiting for me to die so he can finally pay off his credit cards. What kind of man waits for his father's heart to stop so his lifestyle can start? It's pathetic. And yet I almost gave in. I almost signed the papers to leave him the house. Until 3 weeks ago, when I overheard a conversation he didn't know I was listening to. That was the moment the good father in me died, and the truth teller was born. I realized that by promising him an inheritance, I was essentially telling him that he never has to be brave. I was robbing him of his own potential. The same goes for my daughter. She views my bank account as a safety net for her poor decisions. Every time she fails, she looks at me. I can see the calculation. Well, Dad has plenty. It'll all be mine someday anyway. That someday is a curse. It has kept her in a state of permanent adolescence. Now, you might be thinking, so is he just going to leave it all to a charity? To a stranger? That's what my children think. They are terrified I've found a new cause. But the truth is far more scandalous than that. And it's something most parents in America are too afraid to even whisper about. I've decided to be the most expensive 81-year-old man in this country. My children are waiting for a windfall, but they are checking the mailbox for a ghost. Every dollar I have left is being converted into a weapon of mass instruction. I'm not just spending the money. I am consuming it. I've started the process of liquidating everything. The secondary properties, sold, the stocks, gone. And this is where the story takes a turn you won't expect. I didn't just sell the assets. I started a Live While You Can fund. Last week, I stayed in a suite that cost more than my first car. I sat on the balcony, watched the ocean, and felt a peace I haven't felt in decades. Why? Because for the first time, I wasn't a provider. I was a person. I saw a group of young people at the hotel struggling to pay for their dinner, and I realized that I was looking at who my children should have been. People who understand the value of $1 because they had to earn it. People will call me selfish. They'll say, How could you do that to your own blood? But I ask you, what is more selfish? For a man to spend the money he earned with his own sweat, or for children to feel entitled to wealth they did nothing to create? We live in a culture of entitlement that is rotting the souls of the younger generations. You think you deserve the fruit of a tree you didn't plant. You are wrong. You share my name, and that is the only legacy I owe you. But let me tell you about the letter I wrote to them. It's sitting in my lawyer's safe, and it won't be opened until I'm gone. In that letter, I don't apologize. I don't explain the math. I simply tell them the one thing I should have told them 30 years ago. And it's the same thing I'm going to tell you right now, because it's the key to the whole mystery of why I'm doing this. I remember my own father. He died with $50 and a toolbox. If he had handed me $1 million when I was 30, I would have been a different man, a weaker man. I would have never taken the risks I took. By leaving my children nothing, I am actually giving them the greatest gift of their lives. I am giving them back their own lives. I am forcing them to become the protagonists of their own stories instead of just waiting for the credits of mine. But here's the ugly truth that I haven't mentioned yet. The real reason I'm spending every cent is because inheritance doesn't just make children weak, it makes them enemies. I've seen it happen. As soon as the will is read, the claws come out. Siblings who grew up in the same house turn into ravenous wolves over a piece of jewelry or a plot of land. I love my children enough to prevent that. By leaving them nothing, I am removing the bait. There will be no fight, because there will be nothing to fight over. They can go back to being siblings instead of heirs. Wait, you think I'm being too harsh? Let me tell you about the phone call I got yesterday. My son called not to ask about my health, but to remind me that his daughter, my granddaughter, will need tuition money in 5 years. He was already spending money that wasn't his, from a man who wasn't dead yet. I told him, "Son, I hope she's smart, because she's going to need a scholarship." The silence on the other end of the line was the most honest conversation we've had in years. I'm telling you this because I know there are thousands of you out there in your 60s, 70s, and 80s who feel the same way. You are living like a pauper, so your children can live like kings on your grave. Stop it. Your responsibility to provide for them ended the day they became adults. After that, your responsibility is to yourself. You have spent your whole life being a provider. It's time to be a person. My plan is simple. I want the check to the undertaker to be the last bit of currency I have. I want to die with a bank balance of exactly 0. I'm going to take another trip next month. This time, to the mountains. I've always wanted to see the peaks in the winter. It'll be expensive. It'll be luxurious. And it'll be worth every penny. I can almost hear the sighs of disappointment from my children's living rooms, and it only makes the mountain air feel sweeter. I am 81. I am free, and my balance is dropping every single day, and I've never been happier. I'm not being cruel, I'm being transformative. I'm giving them the gift of necessity. I'm giving them the chance to be proud of what they build. Now I know this has sparked something in you. I can feel the tension through the screen. Some of you think I'm a hero, and some of you think I'm a monster. This is where we find out who you are. I want to settle this in the comments right now. We are going to have a vote. Type, "Spend it" in the comments if you think I earned this money and have every right to use it for my own life. Type, "Leave it" if you think I am being selfish and that a parent's duty is to provide for the next generation at any cost. I am going to read every single one of these while I'm on my flight to the Alps. I want to see the war between the generations. And if you're brave enough to hear the ugly truth about life, money, and legacy every single week, hit that subscribe button. I have plenty more to say, and I don't have much time to be polite about it. My time is running out, but my spirit is just getting started. Subscribe now, or don't. I've already got what I wanted, and I'm spending it all. Goodbye for now, and remember, start spending before someone else does it for you.